All-Star Game.
The Royals to Kansas City. From the Kansas City Royals, Frank White. The Rangers to Texas, from Texas Rangers, Buddy Bell. The Indians at Cleveland, from the Cleveland Indians, Andre Thornton. Baltimore, from the Baltimore Orioles, Eddie Murray. Les voltigeurs, the outfielders, the Royals to Kansas City, from Kansas City Royals, Willie Wilson. The Red Sox to Boston, from the Boston Red Sox, Carl Yastrzemski.
As is customary in Montreal, the PA announcements being made in both French and English, and it doesn't matter what language it is. Yastrzemski is going to get that kind of a hand.
The Royals to Kansas City, from the Kansas City Royals, Hal McRae. The Royals to Kansas City, from Kansas City Royals, Dan Quisenberry. The Brewers to Milwaukee, from the Milwaukee Brewers, Rollie Fingers. Les instructeurs, the coaches. The Royals to Kansas City, from the Kansas City Royals, Dick Howser. The Tigers to Detroit, from the Detroit Tigers, Sparky Anderson. The Zars Oakland, Bill Benn. The Royals to Kansas City, from the Kansas City Royals, Mickey Cub. Le troisième frappeur, le troisième but des Royals de Kansas City, le numéro 5, batting third and playing third base for the Kansas City Royals, number 5, George Brett.
Help save a life. Learn the life-saving techniques of CPR. Call your local chapter of the American Red Cross or the American Heart Association for information about CPR training.
Learn the life-saving skills of CPR and help save a loved one's life. Baseball cares.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Len is gone, one away, and up comes George Brett.
Well, one of the reasons, although Billy Martin doesn't necessarily go by this theory when he has Ricky Henderson at first base, you've got the left-hand hitters up there, and you'd like to try and keep that hole for him to hit through on the right side if you possibly can. You got Henderson, the right-hander, followed by Lynn, Brett, and Jackson, and then Cooper. So you've got 4 coming behind him.
Freddie Lynn has been hot. George Brett has not. Brett, who was up well over 300, is down now at, I say down, at 301. He's hit only 195, however, during the month of July. Henderson at first base with 1 out in the top of the first inning.
Yeah, he's thinking about you.
Henderson at first. There's his mom, Bobby Henderson. Her son playing in his second All-Star game. He was a member of the team, not a starter though, in 1980. And there he goes. He gets a good jump, but Brett fouls it away. So he would have had it easily, but George was swinging, and the count is 0-1. Henderson, if he continues his pace, he would wind up with 155 steals in 162 games.
You know, I think you mentioned the key right there, if he stays healthy, and that doesn't mean where he's going to get hurt and be out of the lineup, but I can remember when Maury Wills stole the 104 bases. He was bumped and bruised all over at the end of the year. He was really hurt.
It's an amazing record because Cobb held the record at 96 for so long, and people said that'll never be broken, and then Wills did it, and they said it would never be broken, and Brock obliterated it, and Henderson is on his way to obliterating Brock's mark. 1-1 to count.
The thing about Henderson, too, when you watch him, he is not the feet first type slider. He's the head first type slider, so he can beat himself up pretty good. He's got to have some strong hands out there.
Ricky, a couple of years ago with 100 steals. The American League mark. There he goes again, and Brett goes to left field for a base hit. Henderson tentatively around second and holds there as Ranger's throw comes into Schmidt.
But he took the wide turn looking for the throw behind him in the hope of running to third very quickly.
It's also at this time of night, it is very tough to pick the ball up. And when Ricky got down there and he heard the contact made, he looked up and he could not pick the ball up. And he was kind of in no man's land then. And he decided, well, I'll just go here. And that's about as far as I can go.
Reggie Jackson has one All-Star Game home run, and if you saw it, you'll never forget it. 1971, Detroit off Doc Ellis, pinch hit in the third inning, and did it not make contact with the light standard, it might still be going. Mammoth shot. Reggie up with 2 on and 1 out, and it gets away from Carter, bouncing toward the dugout. Henderson, a short turn rounding third, and holds there as Brett moves into second.
Take one more peek at it. Here's the pitch down in the dirt, the breaking pitch, and Carter has it, hits the side almost of the plate over there, and then kicks over on the third base side. And Carter's going to get on that ball in a hurry to keep it from rolling in the dugout.
Wild pitch. It's ruled with Henderson at third, Brett now at second. The infield plays back. The count 1 ball and no strikes on Reggie Jackson. Reggie going the other way and looping it foul.
325, it's 375 to the power alley and 404 feet to straightaway center field.
Reggie Jackson, now 36 years old, oldest starter for the American League. The youngest, Henderson, is the runner at third, and Brett is at second. And Jackson takes just inside. Crowd moaning.
That's a close pitch.
So 3-2 on Reggie, with Cooper waiting on deck. Fouled away again.
Remember the toughest call of Doug Harvey's life? The meeting with National League President Chub Feeney.
That's right, down in Houston.
Playoffs in Houston against Philadelphia. That best sustained dramatic season maybe in the history of baseball. Was it a triple play or a double play?
They ended up the double play.
3-2 to Jackson. Fouled away again. Interesting note in regard to the umpires as you take a look at Reggie's mom. The umpires, for the first time this year, chosen not on a rotation basis, as had been the case, but on merit this year. Jackson hitting it to center field and deep, but playable for Dawson. That'll score Henderson easily, and Brett holds it second, so the American League is on top 1-0. And still very much the best-kept secret in baseball, Cecil Cooper, who just does his job and does it very well year after year. Pulling it foul. 0-1 on Cooper. Cooper, by the way, is getting the start because Rod Carew has tendinitis of the right hand. Carew would have been the American League starter at first base, but instead it's Cooper, and Andre Thornton of Cleveland was named to the team in Carew's stead. It's Luke down the line in left field. Foul.
Well, when Cecil Cooper comes back, and you mention those two names, Rod Carew and Cecil Cooper.
A look around spacious Olympic Stadium, Montreal ballpark, opened for baseball in 1977. No balls, 2 strikes. Cooper with a new bat, chops it by the mound. Going to be a tough play for Trio, and he does not get it. So Cooper, who has decent speed, is aboard at first as Brett moves along to third. Third hit in the inning. And we saw make the last out in the top of the inning of the Brewers. There's Robin Yount, and right next to him, Kansas City's premier third baseman, George Brett. Winning in the bowling again. Ricky Henderson, who got aboard, came in to score in the top of the inning. And with Sparky Anderson on the left, Billy Martin managing the American League. An interesting story in itself because of what happened last season. 2-1 the count. Sparky perhaps positioning players in that shot. We saw Anderson motioning. Sparky for many years, of course, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. In the second inning, 2 runs, 1 hit, the homer by Concepcion. Nobody left on. We've played 2 at Olympic Stadium. National League 2, American League 1. Ricky Henderson with a 1-strike count. Now a 2-strike count. 0-2. George Brett will be up third in the inning. He singled in the first, as did Henderson. George Brett singled to left field in the first inning. National League 2, American League 1. National League winners of 10 straight, 18 of the last 19. And on top here.
Just an incredible, mystifying statistic.
You're talking about the .214 average of Brett. A lot of times, though, you get out there, Howard, and you run across those National League pitchers that go out there, and they don't make a lot of mistakes if they're right that particular night, and that can make it awfully tough.
Looking in from right field. That Brett, who uses the whole field. Two and 1 the count.
A couple of different hitting theories right here. We talked about Cecil Cooper and talking with Rod Carew, and of course George Brett is the great pupil of batting coach Charlie Lau of the Chicago White Sox.
Two and 2 the count.
Still, Georgie has had a cold bat, as you've said. There's Reg on deck. And there's a fella sitting on the bench who leads the major leagues in base hits with 107. His name is Hara, Toby Hara.
2 and 2 the count.
Well, you know, Hara's going to see some action. There's no question about that. But Billy Martin has to be a little concerned as you see Fernando Valenzuela. But the thing about Yount, the shortstop, he's got a little slight leg pull, and Billy's a little bit concerned about him, how he's going to weather the storm out here tonight. So he's got to use Hara. It's short if indeed Brett can't make it.
Bouncing ball. Trio can only wave at it as it goes on out into center field, and so Brett is 2 for 2, and it's the 4th hit for the American League, all singles.
I should say if Yount can't.
Dave buying some seats. Willie Wilson comes into the game now in center field out of Kansas City. Bill hits second. 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the 5th at Olympic Stadium. It's the Nationals 3 and the Americans 1. Willie Wilson is on deck, and then we'll see George Brett. Henderson scoring the American League run in the first. 1 for 2 on the night.
Yeah, Billy said he was going to run them wild. I don't know how. This is the only runner he really has on the team. Cooper has pretty good speed going to first, as he proved on his infield hit.
Man coming up next can run too, though he's been hurt part of the season. Willie Wilson.
Yeah, he's in there now, so he has the speed.
1 ball, 2 strikes on the crouching Henderson, who hits it into right field for a base hit. And now we'll see if they go to work on the bases. Ricky 2 for 3 with a base hit. Sparky Anderson coaching first base, and up comes Willie Wilson.
Well, the first thing that Sparky's got to be telling Ricky Henderson at first base that, hey, be alive on this big guy, because he's got a good move.
You could almost read his lips, exactly what he's saying. Ricky, I know you know the American League, but this guy has something special right now.
That's right.
Gave him his B+ move there. the count.
You think they don't have a little part of a relay team going right now? Henderson at first and Wilson at the plate.
The count. In the bullpen now, that's Mario Soto. 8-5 for the Reds this season. Going back at Carlton. Wilson tries to bunt his way aboard and fouls it away. Carlton with an exceptional move. That time, Steve had Henderson going back to first base.
Exactly.
That's the big thing that you have to put in the minds of those runners over there. If you do have a good move, you've got to make them aware of it. You've got to go over that way every now and then. You give them your C move, your B move, then an A move, and then you might have a chance of picking somebody off. But you're also going to have a chance. Watch him start coming back to the bag. See him start to feint back, and now here comes Carlton to the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike on the switch hitting Wilson. Almost in slow motion that time, like he's prone to do.
Well, that's the way a left-hander, you can come up with a good move that way. If you can have the body balance and you have the right kind of mechanics and you can balance on that left leg, you can hold those runners right there because you don't have to commit yourself coming to the plate. The only time you have to do that is when that right foot comes back behind the rubber. Then you've got to go home.
Comebacker. Carlton to Concepcion and back to Rose. They turn a double play. So you've got Henderson at first and Wilson at the plate, and you still get 2.
Well, that little man at shortstop turned it over well, and he got a great throw from Carlton. Carlton just kind of took his time for a moment. Watch the ball hit back to him. He's got it now. He looks down, taking a little time, gets a good grip. Look at the throw right there to Concepcion, right where you want it. And they double up Wilson with ease.
And they had Willie running from the right side.
Right.
Which makes a big difference. Buddy Bell.
Buddy Bell hitting for Brett here. Brett was 2 for 2 while he was in. Half swing and a miss. 0-1.
That pitch missing behind the plate now. Lance Parrish of the Detroit Tigers. At third base, it is Buddy Bell of the Texas Rangers. Willie Wilson, you have already been informed about, in center field. And over in right field, the big Yankee Dave Winfield. And there's a shot up the middle for a base hit for Manny Trio. John McSherry standing on the plate to make the call. And now Dusty Baker hits a high fly ball out to the left side. And Henderson makes the catch. The American League gets a man to second base. Can't do anything with it. The score remains National 3, American 1.
Here's to good friends.
Hey, how you doing?
Tonight.
Hi, Jim.
Hey,
what's up?
The bill.
Well, I thought it was about time I paid you back.
Must say something.
Paid us back. Pay us back for what? For last Sunday when the Palmers dropped in, you loaned me some beer.
Well, Jim, that was beer. This is Lowenbrow.
Well, let's call it interest.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
You know, Jim, I've been thinking. Maybe you ought to borrow things more often. Let it be Lowenbrow.
Now that is a bird's eye view. Take a look. I hope they got a rope around the ankle.
It's a little scary. We never had that at the Olympics.
Well, from way up there, that tiny little figure down at the plate looks tiny to them, but it's Al Oliver, and he is a big man in Montreal. And on the mound, Quisenberry now. From Kansas City, the Royals submarining right-hander, and that's chopped down the line. It's going to go toward the corner. Al Oliver turns, and he's going to second. The ball gets loose. He's turning second base and going to third. And he's there standing. Did the seam play a role there? I don't know. The ball took a funny squirt.
Well, you look at it again. There's just a high Baltimore chop right there over the head of Buddy Bell. Now watch that little hop. You see Henderson get over. He just absolutely ran by the ball. They're coming off of the ground in front of home plate. over the head of Bell, down the line, and the speed of Ricky Henderson took him by the ball. He never even got a glove on it.
So that is the second triple in the ball game for the National Leaguers, and Andre Dawson now with an opportunity to increase the National League lead. Nobody out, and Oliver at third. And the pitch is low inside. Dan Quisenberry is on the mound. That's his record on the year. And another Royal has been inserted into the lineup. Frank White is playing at second base, relieving Bobby Grich of the California Angels. And Dawson almost stepped right into that pitch.
You'll look at some hitters, and when they try and gauge Quisenberry, you try and pick up a spot on a pitcher to where you can find the ball. As you look at Oliver at third, a lot of hitters will go right to his knee because that's where that ball is really looks like it's coming out of.
That's hit on the ground to the right side. That's going to hold the runner at third as Eddie Murray makes the play. So one out, and Oliver is still at the turn. Jim Fanning of Montreal coaching at first, and John McNamara of Cincinnati at third.
If the American League is to do anything at all in this game, they've got to reverse a remarkable trend against them in the late innings of prior All-Star games. From the 7th inning through the 9th in the recent years, they have been almost totally inept. And now they're going to have to come from behind once again, as you just looked at Frank White, the new second baseman of Kansas City.
Oh, Georgia boy up there, Ray Knight. And here's a guy I think's a battler. He's another one who'll get down and scuffle with you.
Yes, he will. And you know, he's really kind of a little bit out of position right now as far as his 1982 season is going, because he's been over at third base a lot. I mean, at first base for Houston.
That's a foul ball in the photographer's corner past the dugout.
It's the Astros with Art Howe at third and Ray Knight at first.
Gary Carter is the on-deck man. Knight late with it. Ray Knight strikes out.
Well, that goes back to a statement that I can think of the California Angel manager Gene Mauch making to me. He says one thing that he likes about Quisenberry, and you've got to respect him for it, he can close you down in the late innings. He knows how to pitch, especially the ninth. He can shut the door on you.
The Expos catcher, Gary Carter. Secretary of State designate George Shultz testified today before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on the first day of his confirmation hearings. Nightline tonight focuses on Shultz's views of American foreign policy interest and on the influence of the multinational corporations on foreign policy making. Nightline immediately following your local news tonight. Didn't catch it. Oliver scores from third, and it's a 4-1 ball game.
Willie Wilson did not get a good jump on the ball at all.
He certainly didn't, and it's still another evidence of the National League doing what they have to do when they have to do it. Big, big insurance run.
Great effort right here by Wilson, and boy, it's hard diving on that artificial surface.
Carter comes out now, and Tony Pena goes in to run for him. The young catcher from Pittsburgh. Boy, is he a dandy. National now with 5 base hits.
Don't ever think catchers can't run either with Mr. Pena.
This guy can haul it.
How do you like the way the Pirates have come?
Charging.
That's foul ball. Big figure in their resurgence.
Pena, Dale Berra.
Dale Berra, absolutely.
The return of Dave Parker. who had 2 home runs in 1 game just a few
remarkable
games back.
pitching by Don Robinson.
Oh, yes.
It's really been something.
Oh, I could see that happening the first week of February at Bradenton. His arm clearly was right.
Murphy swings and misses. Quisenberry, of course, like Kent Jacoby, brings the ball underneath. Jacoby, in explaining the physiology of it, says it's the least demanding pitching motion because the muscles continue to rest on the bone structure. You don't relieve them off. The runner going, Pena in there, safe.
Well, that's just what I was talking about. Don't ever think that catchers can't run, because this young man can take off and steal any base for you. He just comes out from underneath his cap, and you've got that gun of Parrish behind the plate. He didn't get a clean throw away. It was a little bit to the inside, and White had to come back, and he had to come around. And Billy Martin's going to go out and talk with McRae. There you can take another peek at it. Whether Billy thinks he got him before he got to the bag, that's a close call right there. But I believe McRae could have been blocked out a little bit with a body of Pena.
Well, McRae had but he was coming from looking at it from the same angle that Martin was.
Martin's had a lot of that kind of action this year. Nothing but frustration. Watch closely. I don't know. Close call.
So Pena is off second base, and Quisenberry breaks it off outside to Dale Murphy.
Maybe he can get a little life into this American League bunch by that kind of.
Probably what he is.
Yeah, so.
Here's another big kid that's fun to watch in the batting cage.
Yes, sir.
Boy, does a ball jump when he hits it. That's a sharp shot with a third baseman, Bell. Bell scoops it and throws it and gets him just barely. So the Nationals had their lead to make it a 4-1 ball game over the Americans. And the name Dave Parker of the Pittsburgh Pirates came up a moment ago. My goodness, he's had his moments in this baseball classic as well. White will come to the plate now.
Ball had deceptive carry to it, Don, in the beginning, because it was a low ball that he hit. It didn't look like it would go that far, but
well, of course,
hardly driven.
When you get on a hot evening and you get this many people in a ballpark, that ball's going to carry a little bit more. And indeed, this has been a beautiful evening for baseball and a lot of people. But he hit that ball hard to the opposite field, and he's got strength. He's a strong man.
A pair of arms now in the National League bullpen. Greg Minton of San Francisco and Steve Howe of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lefty and a righty. Soto comes with a fastball. White swings through it for strike one. And in case it has wandered through your mind tonight, no, they have not put an umbrella or a cover over the Olympic Stadium as yet. The provincial board just simply says it can't afford it. As a matter of fact, the provincial board said it can't afford a new rug. Now, originally, that tower was supposed to be built up and cantilevered somewhat out over the top. And from that, they had hoped they would be able to hang an umbrella arrangement to cover the playing surface. It hasn't worked out. Frank White swings and misses and strikes out. And Soto gave him nothing but heat.
He really put him away easily.
Look what he's done in his last 10 appearances right there. That is pretty good. And here's a fastball. I mentioned before, Soto's not going to finish any. He's going to come right at you with hard stuff. And look at the location he hits. You see, White does not have a chance at that one.
One strike pitch is hit to the right side. Gets by Oliver. Picked up. Pitcher covering. The throw by Sachs over his head. Backed up by Pena. And everybody's safe as Lance Parrish goes down to third. So with one out now, you have base runners on the corners.
I don't know whether they would have had a chance to get Henderson on that play or not.
They give him a hit, huh?
They have to give him a hit. The way he runs.
That ball's by Oliver. Now Sachs over to back up. He gave the throw a little high, and of course he's in an off-balance position to make it. But they would not have got him anyway.
No
you can
way.
see that.
Big night for Ricky.
And a big chance for the American League, finally in a late inning.
We are in the top of the 7th inning. And the hitter is Willie Wilson.
Now you've got Wilson hitting from the left side. The last time that he hit into the double play, he hit from the right side. What Pena wanted to be maybe talking about was, where do you want to go with the ball? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do should Henderson take off. You've got Parrish at third, who does not have all the speed in the world, but you've got a lot of speed at first base in Henderson.
Wilson swings and misses. There's Willie's lady, Kathy. Nobody goes from first to third faster than Willie Wilson, I don't think. Nobody. Henderson on first. Soto just wanting Ricky to know he remembers he's there. Lance Parrish is at third. Henderson's got a foot hooked on the rug. Strike.
You've got another gun behind the plate in Pena. Soto gets rid of the ball pretty quick. It's going to be interesting to see, should they give Henderson the green light or not.
2-strike pitch. Henderson goes. Pitch is low inside. No play.
That's what you got to do. Stir things up. The general rule, don't run. If you're behind 3 runs, it's the 7th inning. But with Henderson, you got to do it and stir things up.
Well, he's a little bit out of the general category with his speed. That's the one thing. You can do different things with Ricky Henderson you can with somebody else who just has the average speed.
If Wilson can deliver, he's at 1-2. It's a 4-3 ball game, but he can't deliver. Soto shoots him down.
Well, Philadelphia, you'll remember, handled Wilson with consummate ease in the World Series.
That is very true. They did. The thing, Willie just did not have the kind of series that he is capable of having. He's a good ball player. There's no question about that.
There's the crowd count. 59,057. The one in the middle. Third largest ever in Olympic Stadium. Concepcion and Sachs and Baker for the National League. The National League has one of the great gloves in all of baseball sitting on the bench, so there's plenty of defensive relief waiting in case Davey comes out. That would be Ozzie Smith. St. Louis Cardinals. It was Concepcion's home run in the 2nd inning that gave the National League its lead. Raleigh Fingers is now in the American League bullpen. And of course, Raleigh, while he has had his moments, there's a sharp shot in third. Bell can't come up with it. Buddy Bell cannot come up with the dart at third, and Concepcion is aboard. Has now started to throw in the National League bullpen.
You watch these 2 leagues year in and year out, and it's utterly mystifying. Continued futility of the American League. You can feel it in the arena. It's oppressive. The failure to score last inning when they had 1st and 3rd, and then 2nd and 3rd, and 1 out.
That's Lonnie Smith, isn't it, on first base running? He's another burner.
Yes, he is.
Lonnie or Ozzie? It's Ozzie. Ozzie Smith.
It's Ozzie.
He'll go in to play short for Concepcion.
Yep. They're both burners. Yep. Boy, did they make some difference in that St. Louis ball club as Sachs shortens up and misses off the bunt attempt. He got it out in time, I guess. But the scoreboard shows that he did, but the plate umpire, Doug Harvey, says, it's a strike. He held his position pretty well with it. It was about eye high and very difficult to get down. Quisenberry on the mound. He is the 4th American League pitcher.
Well, sort of might put something on here.
He might. Big bluff at first. Throw over there. He's back. Harris went after him.
Well, he's got a good count right now. You still got the 1-1 count. He might try something again.
He can afford to. Can have a lot of fun now.
Well, that wasn't a steal because Smith was waiting until the pitch was going. That was a hit and run.
Going now. They pitch out. And the throw. They got it. Well, you have now had a look at the arm of Mr. Parrish on 2 occasions.
Boy, he has a gun, and he just gets it to White, and all he's got to do is apply the tag, and actually, Ozzie Smith just tags himself out.
So the error by Bell is now erased on the play at second, and Sachs is at the plate with a count of 2-1. National League leading the American League 4-1. Sachs swings and foul tips it into the catcher's glove to make it 2-2.
If the game ended this way, and now, who would be your MVP, Don?
Yeah, you almost have to look at the man who hit the home run, David Concepcion. Sure.
So no other place to go.
Bell at third. Better hurry. Didn't get him.
No, sir. Mr. Steve Sachs can motor. There's Steve's dad. He's got to be happy. His son gets a base hit in his first All-Star game. That's a high chopper, and Sachs gets out of the box pretty good, and Bell has to play it on that big hop. Now the off-balance throw. Buddy can make that play as well as anybody. It's a strong throw, but Sachs just outruns the ball.
It's the National League that's doing the running, whether successfully or not.
Dusty Baker. Playing left field. Jason Thompson has come to the on-deck circle now, the big Pittsburgh first baseman. There's Jason. Big guy out of Cal State Northridge. Pitch inside. Dusty's had his moments in previous All-Star play as well. He's a very key man in that Los Angeles ball club. As Sachs running on the pitch, Baker lifts it to center field. Wilson makes the catch, and Sachs has to hustle on back to first base, and that'll bring up Jason Thompson.
Well, Steve actually got down and went around the bag and then had to retrace his steps coming back. You can't cut across.
17 home runs for this big fellow. Bounced around. He started out in Detroit, went to California, and in California started learning more and more about using the ballpark with his bat, and has helped himself enormously, and it's now paying off in Pittsburgh, though he still has retained the long ball power. And this is another fellow who can take it out anywhere.
That's exactly right, Keith. He's got good power to the opposite field. You get that fastball up over the plate or any pitch that he can handle out there and get leverage on it, he'll drive it out anywhere.
Much of the key is
he pulls it to the right side. Easy for White. Frank throws on to first base, and the inning is over. So we We played 7 in Montreal's Olympic Stadium. The National League leading the American League by a score of 4-1. We'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local stations. Good play by the Astro third baseman.
It sure is, because when that ball comes off the carpet and can hit the dirt, it can also flatten out on you. He throws Eddie Murray out by 25 feet. I don't know what happened there
at all. I don't know what Murray was doing.
He might have thought it was going foul. He might not have picked the ball up.
What did Giles tell you guys in 59?
Well, he just told us that, boys, he says, we're not here to lose. He says, we're here to win. And he said, you're going to have all the fun you want. But he says, when you go across the lines, let's win it.
Murray on the ground ball at third. He went back to first base, and by that time it was too late.
There's what a left-hander's move can do to a base runner.
That's true, but this team looks utterly lackluster, Don. I don't see any spark, any fire the whole night.
Well, good pitching will do it, Howard, and the National League has got excellent pitching tonight.
McRae is up there, the DH and outfielder for Kansas City. Pinch hitting.
You know, you're looking at a right-hander Rogers, a left-hander Carlton, a right-hander with a good heater in Soto, a left-hander in Valenzuela. You're back and forth all the time. Tommy's got the pitching staff set up well. But on the other hand, the American League has had certainly decent pitching. They've out-hit him 8-6, but it's been that one pitch so far to Concepcion that's been the difference.
Well, don't throw out the Rupert Jones triple.
No, you can't do that, not at all.
That gave him the insurance run.
Incidentally, the Al Oliver triple that was originally called has been changed
to a double and an error.
Right.
Figured that.
Count is 3-1 now to Hal McRae. Walked in. So that's the second walk in the inning by Fernando Valenzuela. He's a big man for Frank Robinson out in San Francisco. Sawed it off, but it's bounced over his head. Look at the play by Smith. Holy cow, look at that.
Look at that National League dugout, too. And anybody but Ozzie Smith, well, he's there. And anybody running but Parrish, that might be a base hit. He jams him, saws him off over the head of Minton. You saw he got the ball exactly where he wanted. Look at that play by Smith, Keith.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a big league play. We'll be back.
ABC's Wide World of Sports, Saturday.
Another look at the inning-ending play. Ozzie Smith is not even in your picture. And there he is. Bang. Goose Gossage of the Yankees is now in the American League bullpen. Numbers on the year for the Goose. His comment on the plight of the Yankees at the moment.
That's right in their own backyard.
That's right.
Runner goes. Throw by Parrish. He held on. He got it. He got it.
Well, give that man right there half a chance and you're out. There's no question about that. Watch it again. He comes up and he comes up firing. That throw, good pitch to handle and a good strong throw to Frank White, and they get him with ease.
The All-Star Game.
2-2 pitch. Up the middle. Frank White backhands it. Can't get it. Frank flagged at it. If he had picked it, he would not have had a play on Dawson. As we roll along, 4-1, and we'll be back after this message and a word from the local stations. A special presentation of ABC's Major League Baseball Friday night. Kansas City at Boston and Chicago, Milwaukee. The Times reflected their check your local listing for the game in your area. Here comes the first of the pinch hitters now for the American League as we go to the top of the ninth inning. The National leading 4-1. Ricky Henderson stays in the ball game with 1 out, 2 balls and no strikes. And you've got Kent Hrbek standing in the on-deck circle. So the big youngster from Minnesota, Herbeck, is out swinging a bat. The National League winning it by a final score of 4-1. Rogers, the winning pitcher, the save to Hume. Eckersley lost it. Concepcion, the home run. Final score, National League 4, American League 1. Blip provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Travel arrangements made through and promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what Friendly Skies are all about. Coverage of the 1982 All-Star Game has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Tomorrow on ABC's World News Tonight, the Kansas City Hyatt, 1 year after disaster. Have the victims recovered from the horror? How safe is the hotel now? Plus the final report on Love Canal. Is it still a health menace? ABC News, uniquely qualified to bring you the world.